Greetings. It is again us preaching via this media, which we have been provided at this time of the lockdown. We really want to give thanks to God for the technology that even though we are in a lockdown, but we can still communicate via these gadgets. So today I'm going to preach on the readings of the day on Easter 4. My theme is the voice of Jesus. One of the central beliefs of our faith is that Jesus was no stranger to our humanity. He was fully human. We believe that he was not an alien from outer space who arrived in our midst as a totally formed package of difference. As John announces in his prologue of his gospel, John chapter 1 verse 11, I quote, "He came to his own time, and his own people did not accept him." Close quote. Born and brought up as a member of the chosen people, Jesus was to become a stranger because of the way he was alienated by his own people. Others, however, did accept him because for them he spoke with the voice of authenticity. They could see how he always paid attention to the real condition of the people he encountered. There are some voices we recognize as real because we believe that the speaker is trying to face the complexity of life with honesty and courage. There are other speakers we suspect are just prattling on, just to make the right noises in an everlasting effort to be elected. We see this in most elections. We hear all sorts of things being said, people trying very hard for us to hear their voices. Some we are able to listen to, and some we are suspicious of and never listen to them. And that is measured by the way we vote. No doubt because some of the voices are just voices of fleeced people who want to secure their own power. Today's gospel gives us an image of Jesus as someone who hopes that people will come to recognize his voice as the one that does address who they are and where they are, one that leads them without disguise or pretense. The first letter of Peter makes the same point when it speaks of Jesus. I open quote, "He had not done anything wrong, and there had been no perjury in his mouth." Close quote. Clearly, many people do not want to hear the truth from Jesus, but what is most amazing is that even those that ignore his truth, he does not put a price on them. He was insulted and did not retaliate with insults. When he was tortured, he made no threats, but he put his trust in the righteous judge. Jesus places everything in the hands of the Father. In spite of the bitter treatment he receives, he always refuses to give back as he has received. That doesn't make him into a Superman, and it doesn't make him a pushover. It simply speaks to us of his way of being human. To be a human being does not mean the same as being human. In virtue of our birth, we are all human beings. But we have to learn what it means to be truly human in our world. That's the lesson we get from Jesus. He took our inhumanity on his back and carried it to the cross, so says Matthew. His way of the cross is the most authentic voice. It speaks of the shepherd willing to die for his sheep. He dies for what he believes in. He is the word that John spoke about. As Christians, we are all called to be fully human like Jesus. We believe in the words of the gospel that Jesus came so that we could have life and have it to the full. To share in his way of being human, to speak out truth quietly and insistently, even when the opposition is much against us. To have a way that meets people's meanness with the generosity of life in abundance. To have a heart that is capable of imaginative sympathy, of seeing the real need and conflict in people's lives. To have a mind that is not a computer record of past hurts, but is freed from other projects because it reserves judgments as God's business. You know, when people hail insults at you and you keep quiet, nothing goes away. You remain yourself. You remain who you are. It is more about them than about you. It is more about their small-mindedness than about you. Jesus' way of being human keeps us all on our toes. Sometimes we do appreciate that his way is not strange to our condition. It is human condition at its finest. Other times when we look at ourselves, we feel helpless to move with that generosity of spirit. But the voice of Jesus forever calls us. It calls us to a place deep within us, the place that recognizes the voice of the one who loves us with an everlasting love. And when we hear that voice speak, we know it belongs to no stranger. The voice of Jesus calls us even during these compromising times in our country and in the world, where we are confused, where our leaders at times come out being confused. They say one thing today and say the other the next day. They say we must stay at home, but they want our kids back to school. But what I want to plead with us at this time of confusion is that we must listen to the voice of Jesus. And because the voice of Jesus is no stranger, the voice of Jesus doesn't bring any confusion. The voice of Jesus is soothing. The voice of Jesus gives us hope. The voice of Jesus comforts us. Let us hold on in knowing that Jesus is there. When he calls, we will respond. Amen.